Good afternoon. Welcome to the, what day is today? June 10th meeting of the Sacramento Regional Transit Board of Directors. Would the clerk please call the roll to establish quorum?
Director Brewer?
Here.
Director Budge?
Here.
Director Daniels?
Here.
Director Hume? Here. Director Jennings is absent. Director Kaplan? Here. Director Kozlowski?
Here.
Director Maple?
Here.
Director Cerna is absent. Director Singh Allen is absent. Director Vang? Here. And Chair Kennedy.
Here.
With that, we have a quorum with 9 votes. This meeting of the Sacramento Regional Transit District will be cablecast on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel, on the Comcast and AT&T Uverse cable systems. This meeting is closed caption and webcast at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Sunday, June 16th at 11:30 a.m. and Monday, June 17th at 2 p.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/Metro Cable 14. One written public comment was received and provided to the board from Glenn Mandelkern on item 6 regarding the S700 event on Saturday. He encouraged additional celebrations. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should fill out a speaker card located at the rear of the room and provide it to myself or Adam. Once the item has been called, additional speaker cards will not be accepted. The time allowed for public comment is at the chair's discretion. The timer will chime when you have 20 seconds remaining and then again when your time is up.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please call the first item.
So first we have consent calendar items 2.1 to 2.17.
Is there any member of the board that would like to have anything removed or comment on consent?
Hearing none, I'll move approval of the consent calendar.
I'll second.
All right, is there any public comment?
There's two. You should have 2 speaker cards for 2.5.
I do. Thank you. Helen O'Connell.
Good evening, Board. Thank you for the opportunity to come before you. I am very glad that RT is finding fit to fund the ride-free RT program. I believe that this is a very good thing because it keeps kids from getting into the justice system pipeline, which could lead them into greater harm later. And I think if it is not fully funded, we need to look for more funding so that it is fully funded. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. Dan Allison.
Dan Allison, representing Sacramento Transit Advocates and Riders. We're very disappointed to see this item on consent. The city has said we're going to reduce the amount allocated by 3/4, and we'll figure something out later. And by deferring this to the general manager, the board here is saying we'll figure it out later. We find that unacceptable. The program accounts for 1/4 of all riders on the system, and it deserves discussion by the board of directors. You should be talking about it, not just deferring it.
Thank you very much, Dan. I will comment on that. We are not just kicking the can down the road. RT staff and board members, including Member Kaplan and Member Jennings, who isn't here, maybe others as well, and myself, have been working with school districts throughout the county to make sure that this gets funded. I think we're very close. Mr. Lee and Mr. Jennings were at a school board meeting at Sac City Unified till 11 o'clock recently, till the discussion got done, and we got what we had asked for. Is that correct, Mr. Lee?
The current deal we get what we looking for.
Your microphone's not on. Your microphone's not on here.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. We are still going to continue to discuss how we're going to, make sure we get an optimal deal which will be sustainable in the future.
Right. And so that's my point. Thank you, Mr. Lee. Is that what we need to do is not just go out with hat in hand and fundraise every year. We need to find a sustainable way to keep this going and something that commits all of the entities to multi-years. And we are working on that. So to characterize it as anything but a top priority would be a mistake. Next item, we have a motion and a second, yes, but we have no more public comment on consent. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Next item, please.
Chair, who was the second on that? Okay. Thank you.
Next item, please.
The next item, we have 5.1, the public hearing and adoption of the fiscal year 2025 operating and capital budgets. Before you are two items: A, accept public comments, and B, resolution 2024-06060, adopt the fiscal year 2025 operating and capital budgets.
Thank you. I currently do have 2 speaker slips in for when public comment occurs. If there's anyone else who would like to, please get your slip in. Proceed.
Good evening, Chair Kennedy. Is on?
Yeah.
Good evening, Chair Kennedy and board members. Tonight, staff presents the final FY 24-25 operating capital budgets for approval.
It's on, but you need to speak a little more into it. There we go.
There are no changes to the budget as compared with the version presented to the board at the May 12th meeting. However, I do wish to highlight a few items for you. The budget before you is built upon the framework of SAC-RT's strategic plan, which emphasizes a customer-first approach and protects and maintains our core services, which are budgeted without reduction. Additionally, SAC-RT continues to build partnerships with agencies and organizations throughout the region in an effort to maximize funding opportunities with the goal of long-term fiscal sustainability for the vital services we provide. As an example of this is the Ride-Free RT program and many discussions staff has had with the City of Sacramento and other partner agencies regarding fairness and equity in the distribution of funding for this program. With this principle in mind, staff has worked with the county, cities, school districts, and numerous transit advocates in an effort to secure all available funding for this vital program in FY 24-25 and beyond. These efforts have resulted in a preliminary funding agreement with the county, revised funding proposals for the mayor of Sacramento, and initial approval by several school districts to include funding in their budgets. We also want to acknowledge and thank the many agencies that continue to provide funding for this program. That concludes my comments, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from the board? Seeing none. Is there any public comment? I do have the 2 Cocazella.
Hi there, Coco Cocazella, District 4 resident. I somewhat retract my desire to speak on this because I got some education from Jason prior to the meeting. I had some confusions about the capital budget and how it's laid out, and I had some concerns about specific line items, but I will take the time to educate myself on the CIP, which is the breakout I learned from Jason, and if I have concerns, I'll come in the future as offline agenda things. Thank you.
Thank you, Coco. Dan Ellison.
Dan Allison, Sacramento Transit Advocates and Riders. I'm speaking specifically on the operations part of the budget. The question that my organization asked itself is, what are budgets for? What does this budget document mean to us? The answer is it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't give us the information that we need to evaluate SAC-RT's operation service. There's no information about specific programs in here. It doesn't tell us how much they cost, what the fare recovery is, who's being served, both numbers and demographics. That information is not here. The public doesn't have any way of determining whether these programs are good or bad. Should we have more of something? Should we have less of something? Should we drop something? That information is not in this budget, and it should be. We believe that that's the purpose of budgets, is to communicate with the public about why SAC-RT is doing what it's doing. I'll use the Ride-Free RT as an example. It's mentioned once in the entire budget document, There's no number associated with it. It's just mentioned in text. Is it a good program? How many riders is it generating? How much is being spent on it by SAC-RT and the partners? That information's not here. Who's being served? What kind of students? How are they using it? I realize that information is available in some other documents. We had to ask for them, and they were finally provided. But it's not in the budget. The budget should talk about programs and how effective they are, and it does not. And that's true of all of the major programs. We need to address all of the programs, light rail, bus, community bus, everything. All of those major programs should be in the budget document, and they are not. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Lee, is there somebody on staff that Mr. Allison can follow up with to provide his input into future budgets? It sounds like he has some good ideas that
Yes,
we could.
actually, he actually has some very great ideas.
Right.
And whatever he mentioned, we can satisfactorily answer his question. But in terms of formality, how in the future we're going to incorporate his ideas into our budget document, that is a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah. So is there a staff person that will follow up
and
with Mr. Allison?
Jason, our CFO, will directly work with him on that.
That would be great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, that's all the members of the public I have. If no questions from the board, is there a motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Director Kaplan. I believe it was Director Budge, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Next item, please.
The next item is number 6, public addresses the board on matters not on the agenda.
Okay, I do have 3 cards. Michael Bevins.
Hello, Michael Bevins. I haven't been here last meeting, so I'm just basically going to try to reiterate what I've been doing here for a while. Just, you guys already know, but SAC-RT has some bus service gaps, and I'm just going to try to remember some of them. Elk Grove, we got light rail going to it, great, and Elk Grove service inside is great because we annexed it, and I think it's going well, but there are probably people in Elk Grove who might want to go someplace besides Sacramento, like north to Citrus Heights or east of Folsom, and there's currently no way to do it on a bus. Similar to this Folsom, we've got a nice extended light rail going there, but on the other end of that, there's no bus service from Folsom to Citrus Heights, Orangevale, all the north side of our region. Smart Ride should not be an alternative to regular bus service, but it should enhance regular bus service. So you can get from Folsom to Citrus Heights with a bus. And just in general, there should be a regular bus line on every major arterial road, every freeway exit, and a regular bus route at every light rail station. There should also be a regular bus route that gets close to, or not exactly at, but every school. As we're talking about riders, you need to get a bus to the school, not just give them a free ride, but you got to get them to the school. Also, you should establish a spine route from our region. North-south would be Watt Avenue. East-west would be Elkhorn, Greenback, and that provides greater connections. Similar to if you were driving in our region, you would go north to some major arterial, then you turn right. Well, it's the same thing with the bus. You get to a major connection point, you transfer to the bus, and it gets you where you want to go a little bit better. And if the cities and counties want less vehicle miles traveled and less gas being used in cars, there has to be an alternative to driving. And the best alternative to driving is SAC-RT when these shortcomings are made whole. So, thank you.
Thank you. Helen O'Connell.
I am on the MAC board, but I am speaking as a public person for myself. I went on the low floor train at the 13th Street station after being on the getting acquainted, same kind of thing in December. And again, earlier this year. I had called out that the call strip for the handicapped patrons was in a location that was not accessible to anyone that had a wheelchair, because it is located underneath a grab bar, and the strip is not accessible from the top, because you'd have to put your hand through the grab bar to be able to reach it. I then also tried to reach it from the front to try and reach to push it. I was unable to do so. I brought this to the attention of the people that were at the presentation. They took several pictures and to show that it was very difficult, if not impossible, for someone in an electric wheelchair to do it. I was told at the 13th Street Station presentation that they had discussed that situation, but they had not addressed it. I think this is an ADA access issue. I also have concerns about Smart Ride and RT Go. They told me that the buses get paid more money because they have a different licensing. But Smart Ride has the same licensing as the RT Go, but they get a different pay. I don't understand this. I feel that the RT Go system is being treated like a stepchild, and it should be looked into. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. As you know, Helen, we can't discuss something not on the agenda, but I guarantee when it comes to the ADA issues that you brought up, that staff will look into it and we'll have those discussions. Thank you. Coco Cocozella, and I said it right that time.
It's not easy. Coco Cocozella, District 4 resident. If it's allowed, my request is to have access to the public portion of the meeting's minutes. I have a really hard time when I'm trying to put thoughts together for these meetings to cross-reference things that happened. I know there's videos and things that are available of past meetings, but those are tedious to go through the whole thing. So, yeah, if it's allowed, that would be very cool. Or if it exists, maybe somebody can point me at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Coco. Did Mr. Tartagia turn in a card or no?
Couldn't get in the door. Front door was closed.
He turned in a card. He switched it to 8.1 since 6 had been called.
Would you like to do it now, Jeffrey, instead of 8.1? You're going to get me kicked off his chair for that.
Patrick. This is Jeff Tartagia making a public comment regarding three things. First, before we get to the general manager's report, the first thing is I will offer is thank you, in a sense, for the bus shuttle signs for this weekend that were put up. It's appreciated, much better use of them, showing what was going on. Also, it seemed to me like there was some confusion related to dealing down at 13th Street. Second thing, it's not, again, because it's a thing you're going to be discussing. It's on the agenda, but it's not something that's available for the public. I will suggest to you, please review the last 2 years when you come to the general manager's report, which is after this meeting discussion point through here. Third thing is I have not seen either in the last 2 years you having some type of public discussion, hearing about what activities are going on for the board. Other thing I will offer is here it is June 1st. I'm hearing that you're going to be delaying before you go out and release the new low-floor vehicles because you haven't even settled on where the device is going to be going inside the vehicles for the debit card. machine through there. As you know, I've raised a number of issues about making sure that there's accessibility issues in there. And you should probably heard over Saturday's weekend through there that was determined that the priority seating is not sitting per ADA 19-inch standard. I believe you're going to adjust that and take care of that. And Patrick, like you, I have got cataracts in my eyes, so it is becoming very difficult to see more than your glass frames, and much less any names or anything else going on here, even at this distance. Working on that, among other things. And thank you again for the indulgence. Please make it better and easier to access things in the future. That's my public comment right now.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Okay, next item.
Next item, 7.1, Resolution 2024-06061, approval of the fiscal year 2024 annual performance evaluation for the General Manager CEO Henry Lee. Shelley Valentin will introduce and present this item.
Good evening.
Good evening,
Good
Chair
afternoon.
Kennedy and board members. Shelley Valentin, Deputy CEO. As you all know, the last board meeting, we had a closed session. The board had a closed session to discuss the annual performance review of the general manager. And prior to that meeting, we have presented documents relating to the goals for this fiscal year, our accomplishments for the year, as well as our KPIs, our scorecards that we give to you on a quarterly basis. Also included in those documents is a video which was summarizing our accomplishment as an agency for the whole year. And for the benefit of the public, we would like to present that video, if that's okay, just to give you a good overview of the year that was. Thank you.
As we wrap up another remarkable fiscal year, it's time to reflect on the incredible journey we've had together. Here are some of the highlights that made the year truly special. First on our list of milestones, we proudly continue to celebrate our 50 years of service. It was a remarkable time with lots of memories to mark our golden anniversary. We have secured nearly $400 million for the light rail modernization project to continue modernizing our light rail system to make future travel easier, safer, and more accessible for our riders. It is one of the largest infrastructure undertakings since the launch of light rail service in 1987. To accommodate the next generation of low-floor trains, we are finishing construction this summer on Phase 1 of the station platforms along the Gold Line. We have already received delivery of 20 of the new low-floor vehicles and have ordered an additional 25 with the option to purchase up to 76. We celebrated the light rail modernization project and broke ground on the Folsom 15-minute service frequency project. Construction is underway. In partnership with the City and County of Sacramento, a $5 million grant was secured from SACOG to continue progress on a bus rapid transit route along Stockton Boulevard. SacRT's highest ridership, Bus Route 51, travels on Stockton Boulevard, and the city is pledging a 4.5-mile dedicated bus lane. We embarked on the Bus Stop Improvement Project, a unique initiative aimed at enhancing the overall bus stop experience for our customers. By actively seeking and implementing feedback, we've taken a significant step toward making your daily commute more equitable, safe, comfortable, and efficient. We celebrated the opening of a high-speed charging hub at Power Inn Station, emphasizing our commitment to sustainable and eco-friendly transit solutions. Adjacent to the Royal Oaks Transit Station, the Salvatore Apartments, a sustainable infill development featuring 120 affordable homes, officially opened its doors, further contributing to the vibrancy of our community. SacRT has also partnered with Bridge Housing to secure funding for 124 units at 440 Arden Way, adjacent to the Arden Del Paso Light Rail Station. In partnership with UC Davis Health, we successfully launched the new Elk Grove UC Davis Medical Center Express Bus Route 137, connecting people between Elk Grove and the UC Davis Medical Center in Sacramento. Breaking barriers. SacRT is proud to announce our first female Mechanic A graduated from the bus maintenance program. This achievement speaks volumes about the diversity and inclusivity we champion in our workforce. Throughout the year, we hosted in-person hiring events, welcoming 210 new talents to the SacRT family. These dedicated individuals are vital in helping us shape the future of transit in Sacramento. We're proud to have graduated 37 new members from the SacRT Citizens Transit Academy. These new members will help us educate others by sharing the benefits of public transportation. We are on track to provide more than 4.2 million student rides this year with our Ride Free RT Fare-Free Transit program for youth, building ridership for the future. And we have continued a steady ridership growth trend, on pace to end the year at approximately 80% pre-COVID ridership levels, with bus ridership at almost 100%. During this fiscal year, we also offered 6 system-wide free ride days, which were funded through a Caltrans grant. These fare-free days included National Disability Independence Day, International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies, California Clean Air Day, Rosa Parks' birthday, International Day of Happiness, and Earth Day. These system-wide ride days helped increase ridership by 10 to 15% for each event. To encourage more people to take public transit, we have been working closely with the Sacramento TMA on a series of transit field trips and events. As we conclude this year in review, we extend our gratitude to every member of the SacRT team and board of directors, our passengers, stakeholders, and community partners. Collectively, we are creating a more sustainable and equitable future for the Sacramento region.
Thank you. So I hope that video gave you a good summary, much better than I could do for you, of our year at RT under Henry's leadership and the board's guidance. Before you is a resolution that proposes to accept the general manager's annual performance review and also providing a 4% merit increase, which is very similar to what our management and confidential employee group, our non-union group, as well as our OE3 bargaining group are receiving this year. Both of these information is in that resolution, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
No questions. I just want to take the opportunity to make a comment. This being my last year, my last opportunity to speak to Mr. Lee's performance, I have some scathing remarks. No, I just want to say that I have been on this board only 2 years, I think it is, and in that 2 years, I have never had a more accessible, more responsive, more incredibly professional general manager and CEO to deal with. Henry leads an organization that is just so many things attached to it, so many chainsaws attached to it that I don't know how he does it, with great staff, I'm sure, as part of it. But it's been a great pleasure to work with Mr. Lee. And I don't always agree on all the decisions, but I find him to be incredibly professional about all of them, and I just wish others in the government sector would follow his lead, and I'll miss you, Henry.
Thank you.
Any others? I'll just follow that up by saying I agree with everything you said, and also I want to just comment, we'll have more time to do so, but that you have been a great asset to this board as well. I do have 2 members of the public, Coco Cocazella. I get better every time.
You guys will laugh when I actually trip over it one of these days. My questions are not a challenge, they're literally questions. Okay, so, and I realize that the gist of this agenda item is not the scorecard, but I have some questions about the scorecard. I'm a little bit behind the ball. I think this was presented before. One question is, by what means are strategic pillars determined? For instance, I don't see things like safety or infrastructure for stops addressed here. Let's see what else. Another question is, how are these rated? For instance, like I think there's something here about cleanliness. I don't really know where it is. I believe I saw it. Yeah, system cleanliness. It would be great in the future with these scorecards to get a breakdown of which stops were analyzed and by whom and stuff like that. For instance, if I walk and use District 4 infrastructure, I don't get the same outcome in my mind as 4.75. It's lower. So again, this is not a challenge to this document. I would just love to understand how we came to these. And maybe in the future, there's room to be more comprehensive about stuff like this. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Coco. Shelley, would you please meet offline with Coco, and if you have, after meeting, more issues or questions before the board, feel free to come back next time at items not on the agenda and voice those that you still have open questions to. Thank you. Dan Allison.
Dan Allison, Sacramento Transit Advocates and Writers. My comment is not on the evaluation itself, but on the document, the board document. The attachment, the letter from the general manager to the board is a wealth of information. It's incredible, all the information that is there about the things that have happened this last year, some of which were in the video, but there are additional things there. Probably one could find all that information by going through every board document and every publicity thing that comes out, but until this time at the end of the fiscal year, it's not been available in one place. So STAR's request is that it be made available on an intermittent basis. I don't know, monthly, quarterly, I'm not sure how often, but that it be made available to the public on a more frequent basis rather than us having to wait till the end of the fiscal year to see that great summary, because it really is a good summary. Thank you.
Thank you. Deborah, I'm sure you were listening. Thank you. Okay, that's all the cards that I have at this time. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Who moved?
I did.
Okay, thank you. Director Brewer, and second by Director Daniels. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Next item, please.
The next item is the general manager's report.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair and the board and public. Let me begin with some great news from the federal government. Last month, House of Representative members were required to post the fiscal year 2025 community project funding request. Each member is limited in a number of the requests they can make. And in tremendous news, all three of SAC-RT's congressional delegation, all three Congress people, are making requests on behalf of SAC-RT. As far as I know, SAC-RT is the only agency that was included in a request from all three of them, Rep. Matsui, Bera, and Kylie, all three of them. And Congresswoman Matsui is requesting $4 million for SAC-RT's City College and Fruitridge light rail station modifications. Congressman Kylie is requesting $4 million in station upgrades on Gold Line in Folsom, and Congressman Bera is requesting $4 million for SAC-RT's bus maintenance facility number 2, hydrogen fueling station. And on the second side, on the Senate side, both of California's U.S. senators have submitted funding requests on behalf of SAC-RT too, which is unprecedented too. Senator Padilla is requesting $4 million, and Senator Butler has submitted a $3 million request to progress our light rail modernization program. Having all our representatives submit the requests for us is a great testament of tremendous trust, confidence, and support our federal delegation put on SAC-RT. And they have been fantastic with the community project funding request in the past, securing millions of dollars in the past for SAC-RT. But not all of them did that in the past. This time, 5 of them all did that. Great. The next slide, please. Okay. Earlier, the board approved year 6 of the successful Ride-Free RT program. I'm truly appreciative that our school district's partners have stepped up to help City of Sac to fill next year's funding gap for the program. And last Thursday, the Sac City Unified School District Board approved $250,000 for the program. And our several of our board members, talked to Thomas, Elk Grove, and Twin Rivers Unified School Districts, and they reached agreement to fund us way earlier than the Sac City School District. Thank all of you. Yeah, all three of you here. Oh, and our supervisors who represent these areas too. We're proud to have implemented the first in the nation system-wide fare-free program for over 300,000 Sacramento County students. When we launched in 2019, prior to pandemic, students from K to 12 ridership was approximately 1.5 million. Today it's 4.3 million. And we discussed, because in the light rail side, we only counted 10% of our riders are students riders because we don't have a good way to identify them. But bus we have, because every time a student's there, then our bus driver pushed the button, but the light rail cannot do that. So we believe, since bus about 30, probably 35% of the riders are students, light rail we only count 10%. So we might have more than 4.2 million rides. The next slide, please. Onto some other updates. We have also been very busy connecting events goers to community events. For example, we provided the free rides to the 2024 AAPI Light Market and Capitol Mall. The Light Market is a celebration of the vibrant AAPI cultures that enrich every aspect of our community. The food we eat, the people we meet, and the region we call home. As you can see, numerous dignitaries attended the celebration, including in this picture, Congresswoman Matsui, Chair Kennedy, Vice Chair Jennings, and our board members, Hyun, St. Allen, Myvan, maybe some others, attended to, but they're not in this picture. As the incoming chair of the Sacramento Asian Pacific Chamber of Commerce, I'm excited to say how the light market has grown over the years with attendance close to 4,000 this year. So next year when I take over the board, I would like to increase this to 5,000. I just wish for it's a good, good wish. Next slide 5. Okay. On June 1st, SAC was pleased to showcase our low-floor light rail vehicles in a celebration event for the community. I forgot to mention Director Maple in the AAPI. Yeah,
It was pretty clear.
Yeah, lots of. So in the slide, light rail open house, over 300 community members stopped by our 13th Street station to get a first glimpse of the new vehicles. 300 people, for that, morning. It was amazing. Many of the attendees arrived by free rides on transit. We received great feedback from the public, and I want to thank Chair and lots of community leaders for attending. We provide lots of these free rides, and last time, as I mentioned, we provide 100 free rides for homeless, transportations. 100 days for that particular population because of the winter events and summer heat events. We move them around. Then we will be hosting a second community event this Wednesday at the Township Line in the River District from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. I want to take a time to remind the riders to be aware when walking in Gold Line stations, because the platforms have been raised 8 inches higher to meet the height requirement of the new low-floor light rail trains. Riders are urged to cross the stations at both ends of each platform and not in the middle of the station. And we saw multiple cases, some people, especially sometimes wheelchair customers, across the platform in the middle of the station, which really create some potential risk. Then, while we have been delivered 20 light rail vehicles, another 25 are currently in the production by Siemens Mobility here in South Sacramento. At the end of May, staff had the privilege of joining 6 SACRT's board members: Vice Chair Jennings, Director Bloor, and Budge, Daniels, Maple, and Van. Oh, by the way, the names are in alphabetical order, so there's no, don't want to create any, This trip, this delegation is the largest board delegation ever to visit Siemens. We never had this many board members together to tour the manufacturing plant to see firsthand the assembly of our vehicles. That is our vehicle that's going to be delivered. As you know, Siemens decided to make Sacramento its U.S. headquarters after building our initial fleet in 1987. Today, they have nearly 3,000 employees, billions of dollars in pipeline orders, including the high-speed rail, and are spread of 60 acres in South Sacramento. And our elected officials representing that area, including chair and
I think just chair.
Okay.
Yeah.
This manufacture place is actually the largest in Siemens worldwide. We're excited to see our new vehicles being built here in our backyard, which saves lots of transportation cost, logistic cost. Yeah. Yesterday, I had the privilege of joining the ribbon cutting for the region's newest farmers market with Chair Kennedy, Director Van, and Assembly Member Stephanie Wen. I want to congratulate Director Van for securing funding $500,000 from state and other fundings from other sources for the market and the location at our Meadowville Light Rail Station. In recent years, we have taken a pioneering local approach of working with community partners to activate underutilized light rail park and ride lots to not only attract transit riders but also be a better labor by creating amenities that celebrate the arts, culture, and public life that define our great community. The Meadowville Farmers Market at our station is the latest example. It operates every Sunday between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. In fact, we now have weekly farmers markets at three of our light rail stations: Sunrise, Florin, and Meadowville. And the Sunrise Market brings in over 33,000 people per year. That's a huge amount of people. The Florin Market has been around for over 40 years and just moved to our station this past March. We hope the number of patrons will increase in our station. So allow me to conclude by highlighting a great milestone in our paratransit service. A few weeks ago, our Sacramento Go paratransit service carried its 1 millionth customer since launching the service in the middle of the pandemic. When I say launching, Sacramento board made the decision to bring the operations of our ADA paratransit service in-house in 2020 in order to provide better service and cost efficiencies. In 2022, we conducted a ADA paratransit service peer comparison using National Transit Database figures. At that time, Sacramento Go was the most or the lowest cost trip in our peer group in California. So our cost is a kind of like, if I remember correctly, we are the highest agency has double cost in what we have. And I asked my staff to re-examine our data to say if that's still the case. Our Sacramento Go ridership is surpassing 100% from pre-pandemic levels. So it is not surprising to say our ridership reached 1 million so quickly. We normally in the past just about like 210,000, like that. But in last 4 years, we reached close to 1 million. I just want to thank staff, thank board, thank community partners like Helen, you guys, Jeff Tarkia. Thank you guys for your partnership and collaboration and support, and the staff who commemorated the milestone and surprised our passenger, Miss Susan Kenny, with a win award, a free 60 rides monthly pass. She was very happy. She sent a very long, letter to us, and for the sake of time, I'm just going to not read that. So that concludes my remark. Thanks. Get back to you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lee. Any questions, comments? Yes, Director Budge.
Not a question, but just a comment, just to thank you to staff for organizing that wonderful tour of Siemens. It was really very impressive. I mean, just in terms of the processing, the mechanization, the construction, what's going on there is really quite fascinating. And yeah, it was very impressive to hear that it is their largest single location in the world, because they have plants in Zurich, in Austria, and all sorts of places, but this is the largest. And just one of those wonderful little kind of aha factoids, our trains in Sacramento County have to be technically or from a propulsion standpoint different than if they're building a train for Zurich or Vienna. Because in those areas, trains run at slower speeds. They have a very limited area in which they travel. But here, our trains have to be equipped to run in the downtown area, downtown Sacramento, at those same slow speeds, but then be able to pick up speed and go out into as far as Folsom or Elk Grove. And that's completely different from a lot of the other systems that they built. That was just, like I said, that was just one of those little, what do you know, kinds of things. So again, thank you, Henry. Thank you, staff.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? I'll say a couple of things. One is, Henry, I want to reiterate my appreciation for what we're doing to provide rides to the respite centers during inclement weather. That's fantastic, and puts us above just about any other agency. And I want to say to staff too, the rollout of the low floor light rail cars, the event was really well done. I would have never guessed there were so many light rail geeks like myself out there that would show up on a weekend day to do that, and it was great. And the overall, though, we've heard some critique today, the public was blown away by them. And so that was fantastic. And Linda, another factoid is when Siemens started here in Sacramento, they had 34 employees. They now have almost 3,000. So we continue to grow. Okay, Jeffrey Tartagia.
I will reiterate, likewise, to say to Henry the things that are going on there. A number of things come to mind, but they've eluded me now to talk about. But beyond what you've got on Wednesday, and beyond what you're reviewing and doing with Henry, suddenly realizing that he's been here 8 years. And the question mark that I don't know whether you asked before at last meeting or whether you're going to have a session afterwards to see how much longer is he going to be here. It is a concern and a question, of what you've got. He has been extremely responsive and helpful in so many different ways. I guess with Maples and a few other of you individuals, RT board members, going to be working on next of some form of transit tax that is really needed here to see what we need to do here in Sacramento. So that's my next project to work on with you guys. The other thing I'm going to bring up is a general manager part through there. I'm hoping that one beyond trying to think now of the far end, Jennings and Patrick, for the Board of Supervisor SACOG meeting. I don't know whether, Patrick, you're going to be there or not, but please, when you do in Yuba City, reiterate to make sure that $10 million that's very important for getting before August 1st taken care of, that it does happen and get done. And it looks like I'm about out of time. I'm hoping that there's some people going to Denver from SACOG that gets some feedback about what's going on for their agency of what would be very helpful for ours. And also we explain some of the things that we are doing here in Sacramento that would be helpful to others. That's my public comment here too. I know Henry's going to be there and I hope he has a good time and fun.
I believe Mr. Kozlowski will be there as well.
I will indeed. And Mr. Lee, perhaps afterwards we can talk about which $10 million is operative for the SACOG meeting, okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any others?
I am curious, if I may ask a question of the director, how are we coming with the double track project? Because there's an amazing farmer's market every Saturday in Folsom at the end of the Gold Line.
Oh, yes, actually. Yes.
Very close.
Very close? Okay.
We can count that as part of our, next time I will add to my talking point.
Thank you very much.
That'd be great. Thank you. Okay, next item.
Next item under 9, reports, ideas, and questions from directors and communications. We have 9.1, the Sacramento-Placerville Transportation Corridor Joint Powers Authority meeting summary of May 13th, 2024.
Director Budd, do you have anything to offer?
No.
Thank you. Next item.
9.2, San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority meeting summary of May 17th, 2024.
Director Hume.
The only thing I would add is if you can avoid driving to and from Hanford, I suggest you do.
Thank you. Any other ideas, comments from the members of the board? Okay, hearing none, we have no closed session. Therefore, we're adjourned.
Perhaps a high-speed rail to Southern California.